Okay, so let's talk about the mystery school teacher. You were 20 and they found you. How did that happen?
Oh, well, I was at work. I was working in advertising. My first job in advertising that agency. And I'm coming into the office one day and I knew that they were, making some hires. So there was a woman sitting in the lobby. And I went over to her and I said, "Are you here for the copywriter job?" She said, "Yes. How did you know?" I said, "Well, you're going to get the job." She said, "How do you know?" She hadn't even been in for the interview. I said, "Because we're going to be best friends." So she kind of figured out that I was operating on a vibrating on a different level, as she said. Yes, she did get the job. Yes, we did become best friends.
And did you know that? How did you know?
I just knew.
Okay.
I've been, I've been channeling since I was 4 years old. Do you know? In case you know what channeling is, right?
Yeah, what did it look like when you were four?
Oh, well, when I was four, and I was out in the garden, I like to tell people that I was picking weeds. 4 year olds don't pick weeds. I'll tell you what I was really doing. I like the smell of the tomato vines on my hands. I used to go and I used to squeeze the tomato plant
Yeah.
vines.
Yeah, me too.
And meat, so that's what I was doing. I wasn't picking weeds. 4 year olds don't pick weeds. And I started getting all this information. I started hearing this voice in my head, and I was getting all this information about the men who worked for my father, and just all this different stuff. So I went and I found my big sister, and I said, "Why don't people talk about the people who talk inside your head?" And she said, "It's called thinking." And I knew that this was different. So I went and I found my mama, and I said, "Why don't people talk about the people who talk inside your head?" And she said, "Well, what did they tell you, sweetheart?" So I told her about the men who worked for my father and their backgrounds, which no 4 year old would know. And I said, Daddy's going to look at a new place and he's going to come home with a black eye. And one of my cousins, I said, Shelly's going to have a baby on July 21st. My cousin was 15 and it was already July. So my mother said, well, you have the family gift. So whenever they talk to you, you come and you tell Mama what they tell you. And here's how you protect yourself because there's bad guys in the invisible world just like there are in the real world. And she taught me exercises to protect myself. By the way, my father did look at the property about a week later and he came home with a black eye. He had the key, the door was stuck, and it hit him, and he did jam it open and it hit him in the eye, and he came home with a black eye. And my cousin did have a baby on July 21st, 6 years later when she was married.
Ah,
I was absolutely right.
wow.
Yeah,
And so your mom had the same thing? Same
well,
gift?
I'm sure she did. She said, you have the family gift. Anybody can do it. It's just that it's social. I'm convinced anybody can do it. It's socialized out of kids. I'm convinced that when kids have their so-called invisible friends, no, they're not invisible friends. That's what I think.
I have a really interesting invisible friend story. Uh,
Oh, tell me.
when I was a kid, I had an invisible friend named Ami, and my I don't remember that much about him, but he was around for a few years. But there is a world famous book called Ami of the Stars, and it's about a little alien that visits this South American kid and basically takes him up in a spaceship and tours him around a couple other planets to show what, a more evolved civilization looks like. Gives him all these lessons. I think that uh, is not a fiction book, but it's actually a real story written by the author, and I think it's the same being that visited the author that visited me. I
I'm telling you. No such thing as an invisible friend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the same Ami. Um, but this book is, it's sold like 10 million copies or something around the world. It's a young adult and young kids book, I guess. Um, so so your mom knew right away what to
Oh, she knew
do.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was. And so,
Just
and she told me not to tell anybody. So don't tell anybody. Just come and tell Mama.
okay.
I remember one night my parents used to go around. I have five brothers and sisters. And they used to go around to all the kids' bedrooms at night, make sure everybody's sleeping, everybody was okay. And one day I remember and they thought I was sleeping. I was never sleeping. And I heard my dad say to my mom, Bonnie's just not like the other kids. And my mother said, Bonnie's Bonnie. She's fine. Leave her alone. And that was fine with him. Okay.
So you had brothers and sisters?
Yeah. Three brothers, two sisters. I was lucky. I also had very good parents who didn't think I was crazy and who nurtured it.